Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Ajike Sumpter. I am Outreach and Training Coordinator for the Cook County Commission on Human Rights and Ethics. I am also joined by my colleague, as you all have heard, Julia Eplinstaff, who is Policy Analyst for the Commission on Human Rights. And today we're just going to be discussing the housing protections and our fair housing enforcement underneath the commission. So just as a reminder, questions will be saved toward the end, but we will be getting through quite a bit of information today. So I hope that we have a robust conversation at the end of today's presentation. So the Cook County Commission on Human Rights has a twofold mission. First is to protect people in Cook County from discrimination and harassment in the areas of employment, public accommodations, credit transactions, housing, and access to county services, facilities, and programs. And secondly, we also enforce worker protection laws for Cook County to ensure that those who work in or for the benefit of Cook County are paid an appropriate wage for their labors and receive appropriate benefits for their work. So what does the commission do? We receive and investigate complaints, we mediate disputes and conduct hearings, we educate the public on their rights through outreach and training, and we collaborate with community groups and peer agencies. And we're so grateful to Hadi and Fairview Realty for being a community partner who emphasizes training on fair housing rights. So we enforce several anti-discrimination worker protection laws, as I've just mentioned, including the Cook County Human Rights Ordinance, the Cook County Living Wage Ordinance, the minimum wage and paid leave ordinances, and the COVID-19 vaccination rights for employees and employer obligations ordinance. And I just want to note that the paid leave ordinance is a new protection. It was passed at our December Board of Commissioners meeting, and we just began enforcement on it at the beginning of this month, so February 1st, 2024, just as a note. So the Human Rights Ordinance protects against discrimination and harassment in a variety of contexts, including employment, public accommodations, housing, which will be the bulk of today's presentation, and county programs, facilities, and services. And we also provide protection against retaliation for making a discrimination or harassment complaint or participating in a complaint or in an investigation in discrimination and harassment. So we have several protected classes underneath our protection. It protects individuals in Cook County from discrimination and harassment on a variety of bases, including race, and that includes traits associated with race, such as phenotype, hairstyle, etc. We protect for color, ethnicity, ancestry, covered criminal history, pregnancy status, parental status, marital status, sexual orientation. So this is on this screen, the full list of our protected classes, and we also highlight these on our website as well, but I'm not going to get into every single one. Just know that these are all of the ones that are underneath our Human Rights Ordinance. Well, all of our ordinances. So we have actually added quite a few new protections to our Human Rights Ordinance, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit. The first is on May 25th, the Cook County Board added the following protections to the Human Rights Ordinance regarding bodily autonomy. And to define bodily autonomy, it is the choice for a person to control their own reproduction and gender identity. This means individuals should be free to make their own decisions regarding reproductive health care and gender expression without the threat of unlawful discrimination. And included in this protection, a person should not be discriminated against on the basis of their pregnancy status when trying to access housing or employment. So as an example, a person should not be evicted or forcibly removed from their housing situation due to being pregnant or taking the option to terminate a pregnancy or even the perception of choosing to terminate pregnancy. And we had a second round of amendments at the end or toward the end of the summer last year. So on July 20th, the Cook County Board added the following protections to the Human Rights Ordinance for ethnicity. which is an individual's belonging to an identity with shared ancestry, culture, language, traditions, etc. And just as an example, this would include individuals of the Latina or Latinx background and members of different parts of the African diaspora. So Caribbean Americans, Black Americans, immigrants from the African continent, etc. And we also added caste protection, which is defined as a system of hierarchy that ranks an individual's social status based on their familial, tribal, and other identities. So for caste protection, it could be a person's social status at birth may be used to determine one's life outcomes, which is a form of discrimination. And a real life example of this would be a landlord who refuses to rent to an applicant due to their actual or perceived belonging to a caste that is considered inferior in some contexts. So to get into the bulk of today's presentation, we're going to discuss fair housing and the Human Rights Ordinance.